Hey everyone! So today I wanted to make a video on some tips for some casual cross-dressers, maybe some trans women just starting out, kind of femme-presenting people. Now, this video is more or less going to focus on what you should or shouldn't get in regards to clothing and makeup, and not necessarily like how-to tutorials, because there's a lot of how-to tutorials on the specifics of a lot of these if you wanted to learn more. I think a really good first item to get would be a padded bra. This is not to be confused with a push-up bra. A push-up bra will push up your breasts if you already have them. A lot of people watching this video are probably somewhat flat, so a padded bra would do a lot more since it's just a bra with extra padding in it. Now, shapewear can be a very tempting item to get, but I recommend staying away from shapewear if you are just starting out. And there's actually multiple reasons for this, and I'm going to go over them. Number one, shapewear can be very expensive for good shapewear. And if you're just starting out, most of us don't have a lot of money. I know personally I don't have a lot of money. Most people I know don't have an excessive amount of money to spend on stuff. By all means, if you're rich, do whatever you want. But it might be wiser to spend your starting funds on other items. It is also not uncommon for your shapewear to be ill-fitting if you're just starting out. So unless you're planning on potentially doing a few exchanges to get something that fits right and looks right, it might be best to hold off on that. Because you have to figure, say, even if you were to watch something like RuPaul's Drag Race, and I know there's a difference between shapewear and padding for cross-dressers and trans women and that for drag queens. But you have to figure even professionals are heavily critiqued on shapewear. It's actually, if you watch that competition, it's one of the main things that even professional drag queens are critiqued on. So keep that in mind that if you're buying shapewear for the first time, it might not fit you right. Now, some of the stuff people want to show off a little bit of the shapewear and almost kind of make it look like it's actually a part of them, not have it like completely hidden under clothing, like things like breastplates, for example. So it's not uncommon to see some cross-dressers or trans women that have these breastplates, and you see like part of it will cover the chest, and a lot of times they want to show that off. But with that, it's very hard to kind of match skin tones online, and that can also take a lot of exchanging. So your monitor, the color could be slightly off on it. The camera they use to take the picture of it could be slightly off. So if you're looking to show a little bit of the like kind of artificial skin off, you might have to exchange a few times before you get it right. I think tights and leggings are a great item to get if you're just starting out. Now, a lot of people that are just starting out, a lot of cross-dressers and trans feminine folk, they do not want leg hair. No, it's okay if you do like your leg hair. There's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of them would prefer to be able to shave their legs or have smooth legs, and they might not be ready for that yet. And if that's the case, tights or leggings are great. You can't even see leg hair through a lot of them, even if you don't shave. Especially if you have like black ones, like the ones that I'm wearing. If you did have leg hair, you wouldn't be able to see it through them. On top of that, they're generally pretty inexpensive and cheap. And because of that, you could, try out multiple colors. Personally, I feel like most of mine are just black. I feel black ones generally go with almost any outfit. So that's another reason, I guess, to get it is it's such a versatile piece of clothing. As for things like dresses, shirts, skirts, pants, not really gonna get into anything really of that. Like I feel like that's really just like a matter of your own personal style and preference. In the future, I might go over certain styles of clothing that might cover masculine features, but this video is kind of just a very like casual, more geared towards beginners and casual folk that aren't really, aiming to probably go out just yet. Now, if you're looking into getting women's shoes, understand that women's shoes are not sized the same as men's shoes. Now, some sites say that women's shoes are sized 1.5 sizes bigger than men's shoes. I personally haven't found this to be the case. I find that uh, it's generally like 2 sizes bigger. And some sites say 2 sizes as well. That's generally what I go with, and they're more likely to fit me that way. So, say if you're a size 12 men's shoe, you would be a size 14 women's shoe probably. You might be able to get away with like a 13.5. Personally, I'd try out the 14 first. Now, shoes, especially women's shoes, just like women's clothing, a lot of it doesn't necessarily fit to the sizes that they claim the size is. So that's another item be ready to exchange on. Now, if you're looking to shop in person and you probably have anything over a size 11 or 12 women's shoe, you're probably not going to find anything unless it's some kind of specialty shop that gears towards like bigger sizes. So if you have a larger women's shoe, you're most likely going to have to order your shoes online. So if you are private about it, just be ready to, I guess, snatch your mail when it comes in because you're most likely not going to be able to find the shoes in stores. Now, on to makeup. Now, just kind of like the clothing, this isn't really going to be like how-to guides, necessarily how to do your makeup. It's more or less going to be like things that you could get that are easy to use or kind of just tips to go along with this stuff. Now, if you are just starting out, stay away from long-lasting makeup, things that claim, oh, 24-hour coverage. I know it comes off as a deal, but if you're literally only getting dressed up for, say, an hour, 2 or 3 hours even, trust me, you're not going to want long-lasting makeup, even if it is a steal for the price. And one of the reasons being is long-lasting makeup can be annoying to get off sometimes, even with makeup remover. So say if you are home and you normally have roommates and they're out for an hour or two, and then, you're in a rush to take off the makeup, you might not be able to get all of it off in like, with just like 1 or 2 makeup removing wipes. So keep that in mind that, you might have to work a little bit to get long lasting makeup off. So stay away from that if you are casual. Another thing to keep in mind is if you're getting makeup online, understand there is a lot of knockoff makeup online. So if you see some MAC foundation that's normally $30 on eBay for 10 or 15 bucks, there's a good chance that that is fake makeup. It's a knockoff. And on top of that, a lot of knockoffs or cheap makeup online can contain hazardous chemicals in them. I would just stay away from like kind of sketchy sites or sites where you might not even know if the stuff is real. So like say if you could get makeup off of say eBay or Sephora.com or Ulta or whatever, go with a legitimate makeup store and not with a site that a third party could be selling you some fake or some knockoff sketchy, dangerous makeup. I think a good piece of makeup to start off with would be lipstick. Lipstick is, I feel like, pretty cool. I have probably like 100 different lipsticks, so many that I probably haven't even used yet. But yeah, I definitely like lipstick, and I would say that if you normally have like chapped or dry lips, make sure to get some like chapstick or do something to kind of get rid of the chapped lips before you put the lipstick on. Not just so it just feels smooth, but something that I never really see any makeup tutorials or anything talk about is if you put lipstick over chapped lips and then you like remove the lipstick, like a lot of times it like stays on the like the chapped pieces of people's lips. And that's something that I've noticed on people, like after they've removed their lipstick, they have like little like specks of like lipstick stuck on the dry parts of their lip. So if you're in a rush to remove your makeup and you have kind of dry lips, like you might have a little bit of lipstick left over on it. So yeah, make sure that your lips are not too dry when you apply it. I think a great piece of makeup, probably my favorite piece of makeup, is actually eyeliner. Eyeliner can drastically change somebody's look. I think that even for people that just aren't presenting femme, I think everybody looks better with eyeliner. Men, women, non-binary folk, everybody. So yes, if I was ruler of the planet, everybody would have to wear it. Now, if you're just starting out, I would recommend to avoid liquid eyeliner. I've known multiple people that have made a mess with it. I had one friend who like got it in their eye. It was just a complete disaster. So I'm not saying not to get liquid eyeliner eventually, but maybe start off with like a pencil or something first, because if you start off with liquid, you might run into a little trouble, because sometimes we actually like, at least even myself, kind of overestimate our ability. Like, I don't know if anyone else has ever like watched a makeup tutorial and you're like, oh, I could do that. And you try to replicate it and you're like, what the heck? And you look nothing like the makeup tutorial at the end of it. So yeah, try to stay away from liquid for a little bit until you get used to using maybe other types of eyeliner first. Nail polish for a lot of people is a really big one. A lot of people want to be able to paint their nails, and if you're using certain types of nail polish, most nail polishes, it is not going to be quick. And I don't mean the physical act of painting your nails, that can probably be done in a few minutes. But if you're using normal nail polish, it can take a long time to fully dry. Now, they do have quick drying or instant nail polish. I don't feel they actually are instant drying, but they do dry a lot quicker. And you can use things like a blow dryer, and that will help speed up the drying process. Now, if you are going to wear nail polish, make sure to get nail polish remover, and not just normal makeup remover, nail polish remover, because otherwise it is going to be really hard to get the nail polish off of your nails. Like, I've seen people try to like chip it off and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, so nail polish remover will take it right off, like almost instantly. So make sure to have that when you're painting your nails for when you're done. Now, something to keep in mind is do not use the nail polish remover for any other types of makeup. I cannot repeat that enough. I've never even heard of anyone doing this. I'm sure there's people out there that have, but just to be safe, don't use it for anything other than your nails, and wash your hands after you use the nail polish remover. Now, one of the most important pieces of makeup for a lot of people is foundation. And I cannot stress this enough. On a lot of makeup, you can get cheaper stuff. I personally would not recommend getting cheap foundation. That's something that I'll always spend an extra few bucks on, is a better foundation. It can be very annoying to cover a 5 o'clock shadow. I know not everyone cares to cover it. Personally, I like to attempt to cover mine. And, especially if you have like dark facial hair and like pale skin, it can be very difficult to find it. Like, you'll probably even have to put concealers on before you put on the foundation, or some people will use like certain colored eyeshadows or lipsticks to kind of use like a color wheel to kind of balance it out, and get something that looks like your skin tone with like good coverage. But yeah, sometimes you might be able to get away with, just covering the 5 o'clock shadow with a really good foundation. Foundations that a lot of people I know that are a little more expensive that cover it well are Dermablend and MAC, like their foundations. Now, I would still recommend maybe getting like a concealer or something also to help cover it, but you might be able to get away with just the foundation. Now, if you're just starting out, I think eyeshadows are one of the things that you can actually save a little money on. There's actually a lot of great eyeshadows that don't break the bank. I wouldn't recommend getting individual ones right off the bat unless you really love a certain color. I do buy individual ones on occasion, but only for colors that I really use a lot. Even if you use an eyeshadow a lot, the ones that come in the palettes, like with multiple eyeshadows, like might last you a really long time. So I would recommend just buying palettes. That's the smarter way to buy it. And some brands have good colors and they're not even that expensive. A brand that comes to mind, like bright, right away would be NYX, NYX Cosmetics. I think they have really great eyeshadows and they're not super expensive at all. Like you could get a really good palette probably for under $20 that has multiple eyeshadows and that could leave you a lot of stuff to play with. Blush is another piece of makeup that I feel you don't have to break the bank with. I feel blush, you can get a relatively cheap blush, you know, maybe even a palette of blushes, and they don't really have to be super expensive, I don't feel. Most of them do the job. I think one critique I have is a lot of people overuse blush. Like sometimes I see some people's photos and they really go overboard with it, like whatever floats your boat. But I would recommend maybe putting on less blush than what your instinct might be. Make sure to also buy makeup remover and brush cleaner. I cannot stress that enough. I cannot tell you how many people like Trendspoke and Crossdressers I like went over to their place and a lot of them aren't fully out and like they'll hide their stuff and they'll have like their makeup like hidden in like a wonky part of their apartment and it's like that stuff could probably be getting like moldy or like bacteria or something on it. And if you're kind of hiding it in something weird, like, your trunk, your car, who knows what, I would definitely recommend brush cleaner. Even if you're not hiding it, I would still recommend that because the last thing you want is like a weird bacterial infection in your eyes. Like it's rare. They do happen, stories like that pop up in the news all the time. And, while I don't feel most of the people go blind from them, you definitely don't want to get some weird kind of eye bacteria. I generally don't go overboard with replacing makeup. There are a few types of makeup that I will replace every few months, and a prime example of one would be mascara. Mascara gets a little weird if you don't replace it every so often. I would say anything that's kind of liquidy, you shouldn't probably hold on for, extended period of time. Like I wouldn't use a mascara that's been sitting around for like 4 years. I feel like that's just asking to get like a weird infection. So yeah, definitely stay away from using old liquid stuff. Now on to wigs. As you can see, wigs are something that I absolutely love. I love being able to just change my appearance drastically, and changing your hair can really change your appearance like very differently depending on what kind of wig you have. So that's something that I just love playing around with. Now, for your first wig, you probably shouldn't like go overboard and buy like a human hair wig and spend like $3,000 on a wig, and you shouldn't go and buy like a $5 costume wig either. Not to knock costume wigs, I actually have a couple of them. I think sometimes they're kind of like, cute and cool for like a costume or something. But just spending an extra $10 on a wig would go like a long way in terms of quality. So you don't need something human hair. There's a lot of synthetic wigs out there. Most of my wigs are synthetic wigs, and I think a lot of them look pretty decent. So I would say like a good price to spend for a synthetic wig is probably like 30 to $70. Like I feel like, I wouldn't really recommend buying wigs for like $10. They're either going to shed a lot, you're just going to find like, the fake hair everywhere, or when you get it, it's going to look like very plasticky. Even in pictures, when you go to take a picture, it's going to look like you're wearing like a plastic helmet. Now, if you are thinking of shaving your body hair, you might have the question of, should I use a men's razor or a women's razor? And I know some women that swear by using a men's razor for their body hair. Now, personally, I don't like doing that, and I'll explain why. So with women's razors, I feel the blades are more spaced apart, and they're less likely to get clogged. And I feel like for a lot of cis women, their body hair isn't as thick, and same thing for like trans women on HRT. And because of that, I feel like they're less likely to clog the razors, so they can get away a lot of them with men's razors. But I don't even consider my body hair to be that thick, and I feel like I would clog men's razors very easily. So I would definitely recommend, if you're like me, to just get a women's razor and use that, like something like a Venus or something where like the blades are a little more spaced apart, and it's easy to get the hair out of there without clogging it. Personally, I've never used an electric razor, so I can't speak on behalf of how well they work. I've never used one even for my facial hair. I have heard of some people using things like Nair. I've tried using Nair twice, and both times it didn't work well enough. It didn't really remove that much hair. If anything, it kind of like removed like patches, and then I had to shave anyway. So some people swear by this stuff, but I feel most people I talk to, they run into the same kind of situations I did, where the Nair just doesn't really work that well. And I strongly advise, do not use Nair on your facial hair. It is not meant for that. There might be some brands out there that are meant for facial hair, but you shouldn't use Nair on your facial hair. Like I've seen horror stories online where people like really, messed up their skin on their face from using Nair on their face, because it is not meant for that. So do not do that. Now, I know this video probably doesn't include everything, but I think it has like a lot of the basics of what people might need to get starting out. Um, I could have included more, but I I don't think anybody wants to sit here and watch a 7-hour video that tries to be all inclusive of everything. Sometimes I feel like it's better to just kind of attempt to hit the basics of things. Now, if there was anything that you strongly felt I missed, or things that you would like me to talk about in the future, feel free to drop that in the comments section. Or, things that when you were starting out, or if you're casual, things that were really important to you that I missed, because by all means, like, I don't want to miss important things. Sometimes it happens, like I'm human, so, or maybe I'm not, I don't know. But regardless, it's very easy to kind of miss things in a short video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. And by all means, like in the comments section, if you want me to make videos on certain topics or do anything, leave a comment, and if it's within my power and reasonable, I will definitely consider doing it. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.